us by
Oh, real close.
Boy, really close, sorry.
Yeah, that'd be a rock star.
I almost feel like I have to lick it, yeah, okay. Anyway, I think most of my concerns have been addressed, but this just brought up a new question, this early hearing with the attorneys. Would they be represented then by an attorney at that point or later on? Does that make sense as to what I'm saying? So just to get rid of the frivolous,
Yeah.
and then so no attorney fees?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Carl just answered this. Okay, remember how it goes? The 3 complainants file their complaint. Then the executive director and the staff vet the complaint to see if it's frivolous or mean or groundless or specious or just stupid. And so that's all done in private. And nothing, if they decide it's frivolous or bonkers or just a whack job or whatever, they just get rid of it. And nothing happens.
No attorney fees then.
No attorney's fees.
No participation, right?
If it says informal, they have informal, meaning they don't have attorneys, they're not drafting motions. They just go to the legislator and say, what's up with this? Is there any ground, is this like factual, is there anything here? The legislator, remember if you read it, has informal participation, but not formal. They don't have attorneys, they're not briefing it, they're not arguing law and motion, that kind of stuff. So that phase, no attorney's fees, they're vetting for whether it's frivolous, as Carl explained. If they find that there's a basis in law or fact that it's genuine, then they refer it to the entire commission. At that point, and only at that point, it becomes formal, it becomes public, and then the legislator has the right to attorneys. Okay, at that point, for that hearing. Okay, and the second hearing, if the commission finds and recommends that the legislator has engaged in unethical conduct or illegal conduct, then it goes to the full legislature. Now the legislator may not need attorneys there because he can talk to his peers. There is, peers and friends in the legislature. So he may not use an attorney at that point. In fact, I kind of doubt he would because he can make his own case with his own fellow legislators.
Thank you. Adrielle Herring, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. How do you say your name?
Adrielle.
Adrielle, thank you.
I was impressed.
Oh, gee.
Okay, I have a few things, but a lot of them have been addressed, at least somewhat. I guess, well, first of all, I would say that, any effort to push our ethical standards high is a great idea. I mean, and, somebody mentioned that, this might even push the legislators to even higher ethical standards. I think if it does, I think that's a good thing. I mean, obviously. I do have some concerns. I've read through the document quite a bit, and most of my concerns probably can't all be addressed right now. But I will say, one concern that I have, it relates to the manner in which people are appointed to this board. So, Mr. Snow indicated that it's not going to fall to the 5 signatories because everyone will be highly motivated to, get some other names out. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, it could be that some of the legislative leadership feel more ideologically aligned with the 5 signatories and may just withhold agreement. And the idea that the 5 signatories are necessarily going to have a balanced point of view because some are Republicans and some are Democrats, I don't think really holds out, because it'd be like saying John McCain and Tom Tancredo are pretty, they provide some balance to the, other side of the aisle. Anyway, I'm just saying that I think that there are some real problems with having this fall to the 5 signatories if agreement can't be reached, and it could actually lead to some unethical unwillingness to agree to names that are perfectly legitimate. Okay.
You want to talk about what the 5 actually do? They don't become the commission.
No.
But they choose it.
Perhaps in drafting this initiative, this was one of the most difficult questions we had to deal with. How do you appoint these 5? Now, if the legislature can come up with a better method, they certainly will and can. because they hold the right to amend this as needed. At the outset, we wanted to encourage the legislature to move ahead and establish a commission and to get agreement with the minority leaders of both houses, the Speaker and the President of the Senate. Now, I don't think that's going to be all that difficult. When there are names placed before them of men of high caliber and women in our community who are outstanding in their particular area of service, I think that's not going to be difficult. I frankly think we're spending way too much time dealing with this particular issue that can be disposed of or amended by the legislature. At the outset, we have provided for the provision as is outlined, that the majority leader, minority leaders of both houses, the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate shall come to an agreement on 20 names. I don't think that's going to be that difficult. These are men that we elect. And I think, I'm not sure there's any women in that group, but there may well be. Yes, there are in the minority. And so I think that's not going to be that difficult of a question. These are people of integrity. Why are we spending this kind of time dealing with something that can be readily addressed by the legislature?
Now those five, correct me if I'm wrong, those five original signers, they don't become the commission.
No.
They would pick 20 names and out. What, pardon?
The remainder of the 20 names they can agree.
Yeah, the ones they couldn't agree upon, so we have 20 names, and then the leaders of the both parties then would draw the names out of the hat, and not the five that would be serving at all. All they do is just help round out the selection of names so that we can move forward.
I'd like to thank the Commission for drafting this and highlighting some very important issues. Maybe I'm naive, but who would file a complaint if they have to pay their own lawyer's fees? And are there some loopholes in that system of who would be able to come forth with these complaints? Have you thought about that?
Yes.
I'm sure you have. It just seems to me like there's no motivation for coming forth with a complaint.
Well, I think, you know, in the first drafts, we provided attorney's fees to everyone. But then we were very worried that people would come unhinged because they were worried that we taxpayers would end up funding attorney's fees for whack jobs, you know. So we took that out, and we just have to hope, and maybe this is not, maybe it's hopeless, I don't know, but we just have to hope that citizens care enough about conflicts of interest and self-dealing and self-aggrandizement and outright corruption, bribery, legislators behaving badly, that they will nevertheless